Hey guys, thanks for tuning back into Frosty Pine Labs. Can you 3D print your shotgun shells and actually fire them? I have no idea, but I'm about to find out. I'm testing both regular loads and homemade wax slugs. I have no clue if they're going to chamber, fire, or blow apart, but either way, it should be exciting to see, so stay tuned. Hey guys, so this is sort of an interesting episode for me. So I've been reloading my normal shotgun shells. They're fine, they're great. And I got to thinking, can I 3D print them? So I've 3D printed some of these. They're full length, so I have to trim them or crimp them or whatever. I have room for a primer. I'm going to load these up, some with traditional crimping, like this. Looks kind of like crap, but it might do the job. And then with some wax slugs as well that we're going to try to fire out of here. So I'm really interested to see if these hold together, if they're going to fire, how they're going to fire, if they're accurate for anything. So yeah, let's get into loading them and see how it turns out. Hey guys, there's a quick note that I wanted to talk about with you. When 3D printing shells, there's a Z seam, or the seam that your printer leaves as it connects the loops as it builds your piece up. And that seam, if it's aligned on the same scene, you'll see it pretty blatantly. Let's see if we get this to focus here. There's a seam. Right here goes all the way up. Now the problem with this is when you go to crimp it, it breaks on that seam. That seam will crack, and then it's not as ideal as it could be. So what I've done is I've stacked the Z seam and made it random. So there's little blobs all over, but there's no straight line going down. This seems to have fixed the cracking issue so far. Whether or not these are going to eject is a different story. But they are stronger now and have more rigidity with the misaligned Z seam. Alright guys, so we've got our 3D printed shells. We've got some primers here, shot shell primers, our cups, a bit of wax, and some number 7 shot up in here. So let's get started. So we're going to take this, one of our primers, seat it, set her down, and look at that, we've got a perfectly seated primer, so we're good. Next, we're up into the charging station. We're going to drop our powder. Oh, I didn't drop it down low, that's fine. And then that's good. We're going to lift this up, and we're going to put our cup in. Oh, there we go. There's our cup. I'm just going to force that down and in. Perfect. So as you can see, we've got our round. We've got our cup in there. We're going to slide our shot over now. Now we've got our load in there as well. So we're going to do the same with the rest of them. And once these are done, we'll come back. Now, full disclosure, guys, and don't do this at home. Once we're loaded, we have our shot in here, we have our powder, we have our primer. This plastic is rigid. It's not going to fold in when I press it in my press. So away from the gunpowder, we're just going to heat this plastic up a little bit, just enough to make it malleable and a little bit soft. It's PLA, so it should be pretty easy to turn soft here. And we're going to put it in, and our star press is going to crimp it down. And there you can see we have our initial star press. It's ugly, but it works. So then we're going to heat again, slowly around the top. And again, you don't want to melt it, you just want to get the material malleable, because when we press it, we don't want it to crack. Because plastic is prone to that. So we do that, we throw it in the cup, and we press it in. And as you can see, we've got our round pressed and good to go. So next thing you want to check is that the loads that you've pressed actually chamber, and they look like they do. They go in okay. So that's good. First round pressed out, 3D printed. Okay, so the two of them that I'm going to turn into wax slugs, I've cut to 2 3/4. I've loaded with our shell, or shot I mean, and then I'm going to melt wax into these. So as we melt this, let's turn it on. There we go, we got our candle lit a little bit. As we melt this in, you're just gonna pour it, let it do its job. The wax is gonna fill in all the little crevices of the shot. And this is really just like a poor man's slug. So like if you can't afford a slug out in the bush, or all you have is bird shot or small shot, and you need to take something a little bigger, maybe a deer or something like that, these wax slugs can be a great alternative. You just want to fill it up to the brim, just under the brim there, let the wax really sink in, do its job, move on to the next one here. And it's really just about making sure your wax gets in there as deep as it can, without going like you want the cup to protect it so it's not going into the powder. But we just fill these up, and these are going to be some solid homemade wax slugs that we'll be able to go out and test and see if they, 1, chamber, 2, if they fire, and 3, if they're accurate for anything. Yeah, that's it for the wax slugs. Alright guys, we've got all 6 of our rounds loaded up, the 2 wax slugs, 4 of the other. Let's take them out. They all chamber. They chamber well into the shotgun, so I think we're okay to shoot them. My only concern is maybe ejection, so we'll bring a ramrod out with me, just in case we have to clear the shotgun at all. But yeah, I'm excited to see how they work. Hey guys, we're out in the bush here. We've got our rounds. We've got our Chiappa Model 101 single shot shotgun. I like this little guy a lot as well. So we have our 3D printed rounds. We have our a control round, just a normal round target load that I pressed. We have our crimped rounds, and we have our slugs, or our wax slugs. So we're going to test all 3. We have our target set up. We measured 15 yards from our line. So we're going to first test the pattern on the control, and then we're going to see the others, and we might have a treat at the end of the video as well for you. So make sure to stay tuned. All right, first up we've got our control round, just a target load. We're going to load up, and we're going to see the pattern from 15 yards on the target down there. Perfect. Now let's go see. All right, so coming up to the target from 15 yards, we can see a pretty solid pattern. We hit literally every zone, and the BBs that hit passed right through both of our, oh yeah, you can see the back of the board there. Just went right through into the brimbles here. So next up we're going to test the slug round and see what happens. Next up, we've got this round that I pressed and 3D printed, so we're going to see how that goes. I have my push rod just because I don't think it's probably going to eject. I'm assuming that at least. So let's chamber it, load up, and we're going to shoot at our target and test the spread pattern compared to the others and see if it even works. So here we go. All right, so as you can see, we didn't eject, and the bottom of our case has a crack there. It did fire, it did hit the target, but we didn't eject. So I'm going to use my push rod here and just sort of push it out so we can see what's left. So this is what was left behind. With the shot, we have our spent primer and a crack in the bottom. I wonder if I make it 100% infill on the bottom, if we could get rid of that crack and have it eject properly. But no, it did not eject. Let's go check the target. All right, coming up to the target, what are we sitting at? To be honest, it looks pretty similar. It looks like it still on target. The only real issue I think was the ejection issue. It looks like we have it looks maybe a little higher to the left, the spread pattern, where before we saw a little more even distribution. So it might be sticking together there, but other than that, I don't see the wad anywhere. I don't see any of the casing. And it's important, I wanted to use PLA so that way it's also environmentally safe, and it will decompose and not hurt the environment as well if little bits that I can't find end up falling down here. So yeah, let's test out the slug now. Last up, we have our wax slug. I'm really interested to see how this one performs at 15, and if a wax slug will even work in this. So let's chamber her up, and let's see what happens when we get on target. Again, we didn't eject. There's a bunch of smoke coming out. Let's walk up to the target and see what we got. Alright guys, it looks like the wax slug broke apart. Maybe I was too far away. I have a second one I'm going to try at maybe 5 yards just to see if it holds together a little better. Maybe I need to use a different wax or a harder wax. Maybe I'll make some wax slugs and come out and do a video just on those and see sort of what I'm getting out of them. Guys, on inspection and pulling this out, I noticed I have some unspent powder or unburnt powder here, and if you look down the barrel, I'm not sure if you can see down there, we've got some powder in there. So we're going to try the wax slug again, see if we have the same issue or if it was just this, and we'll try closer at maybe 5 yards. All right guys, I've attached this to the end of my gun. I'm going to try a shot to just see how stable it is. Not very stable. All right guys, I got my ballistics gel head from the other day there. Let's try a wax slug at 5, see what happens and if we get any better results. Alright guys, this powder smells like shit, but outside of that, this one held together a little better. We do have some unspent powder though, as you can see, with the wax slugs there. So interesting to see that. Let's go take a closer look at the dummy and see what we got. Alright guys, so looking at the head here, we have a lot of pellets. It doesn't look like it held together like a slug, but again, that could be user error. They also didn't pass all the way through. Most of them are retained right there on the left side of the head. Very interesting to see. There, it is a pretty tight group. I was shooting from 5 yards, so that's pretty much what I was expecting. There's some unspent powder on the face as well, or maybe just sawdust possibly. Yeah, impressive though, but not the slug result I was hoping for. Now that we've shot that, we saw the slug didn't really work the way we wanted, so now we're going to test out just the straight up round that we pressed, target load, and see if we can get on point from 5 yards with this guy here. So 3, 2. Look at that. I got my cut back. Perfect. Sorry, this also didn't eject, and it split on both sides. I can't get it out, so I have to use my ramrod. I'll get that and I'll pull this out. All right, coming up to old Jim Bob here. Ooh, he's got some weight. Same deal, different size shot, all about halfway in. Some of these ones penetrated a little deeper. They wanted to come out. I don't see. Oh, there's a couple shots on the back, so a couple did go through. Yeah, pretty impressive for a round that we 3D printed. Actually, looking at this side of the face, I turned the head around, you can see a lot went through. Just not on the other side, but these guys here, they all went in and passed right through the back. Hey guys, so final test I want to do. I want to take one of my homemades. I'm going to load it in, and we're going to put it into the side of the head up close. I just want to see what sort of damage the homemade round will do from a foot outside of the barrel. So we're going to give that a test here. Let's see, and let's give it a go. Alright, so my GoPro is not recording for the last one, so I'm going to set it back up, record, and shoot from the other side. So last round, one of my homemade pressed rounds, 3D printed. Let's see what it does. We're going to shoot up close, faced away. Alright, again, that shell didn't eject, this cracked all the way through. So I think in the next iteration, I might try to give it maybe if I could do like a tougher material on the bottom and lighter in the top, or something along those lines. But let's go up close here and see what it did to our head. So we've got our shot right here. It went all the way in. Ooh, it's hot still. Dumped the whole load in, didn't come out the bottom, completely retained in there, but it shot and it worked. And it's you can see the bits of the plastic in there, but yeah, fully contained, and it worked. Alright guys, so it was fun to get out and test the 3 rounds. There was the homemade press, the wax slug that really didn't work out the way I wanted it to. I'm going to iterate, come back, make another video on just wax slugs to see which ones hold together best. A pattern on all of these, the target load that I've pressed normally and the 3D printed loads hit about the same at 15, which surprised me. I didn't find bits. The only thing that sucks is these not ejecting. So something I have to work on here, maybe make a stronger infill in the base or something along those lines. If you have a suggestion in chat, please let me know on what you think might work better. But outside of that, thanks for tuning in to Frosty Pine Labs, and until next time, take care guys.